Winter, 1943. Eastern Front. A Wehrmacht officer stands in a frozen trench, 14 degrees below zero. Through the snow, he sees them arriving. Waffen-SS troops from Das Reich. New boots, fresh winter uniforms, Tiger tanks. His own men, wearing coats from the last war, operating Panzer IIIs from 1937, rationing ammunition. He mutters to his sergeant, "They fight hard, but they burn through men like we burn fuel." His sergeant doesn't look up. At least, when they freeze to death, they're wearing good boots. By 1945, this rivalry will help Germany lose the war. Two armies, same enemy, fighting each other for control. This is why the Wehrmacht hated the Waffen-SS. Make a prediction right now. Same battles, same enemy. Who was more effective? Remember your answer. The data will surprise you. If you want history that goes deeper than battles and generals, hit subscribe. Every documentary tells you the same thing. The Waffen-SS was Germany's elite. Best trained, most dangerous, unstoppable fanatics. Half of that is true. The other half? A lie hiding catastrophic waste. Military historian Trevor Dupuy spent 40 years analyzing combat data. He built statistical models comparing German forces to Allied troops across hundreds of engagements. But Dupuy only studied elite formations, veterans with years of experience. By 1944, the Waffen-SS had 38 divisions. Only 8 were truly elite. The other 30? Foreign conscripts, poorly trained volunteers, units that collapsed under pressure. Some late-war SS divisions performed worse than average Wehrmacht infantry. Historians estimate their effectiveness at 80 to 90% of Allied troops, below the regular army. When people say the SS was elite, they're thinking of Das Reich storming through France. Not the 23rd SS Division Kammer, not the 33rd Charlemagne Division, not the dozens of foreign units that disintegrated in their first real battle. Average everything together, the Waffen-SS was roughly equal to the Wehrmacht. Some divisions exceptional, most mediocre or worse. But even elite SS formations achieved their success at casualty rates 40 to 70% higher than comparable Wehrmacht units. Exact figures disputed because German records deteriorated as defeat approached. The SS approach was expensive. By 1943, Germany couldn't afford expensive. So if the SS wasn't actually superior, why did Wehrmacht officers despise them? Equipment favoritism and suicidal tactics. The equipment situation is where the hatred started. August 1942. First Tiger tanks roll off German production lines. 88mm gun, armor that shrugs off everything the Allies throw at it. Wehrmacht panzer divisions had been bleeding since 1939. They didn't get them. The Waffen-SS did. First, SS Leibstandarte. Second, SS Das Reich. Third, SS Totenkopf received Germany's most powerful tanks immediately. Wehrmacht's elite Großdeutschland division waited 6 months. Regular panzer divisions waited until 1944. The distribution system created the resentment. Tigers were organized into heavy battalions. Some rotated between divisions based on operational need, others were permanently attached to specific divisions. SS Panzer divisions received permanent Tigers. They owned them, always available for their operations. Wehrmacht divisions received independent Tiger battalions that arrived for a battle, then departed for the next crisis. From a strategic perspective, the rotating system made sense. Concentrate firepower where needed most. From a frontline commander's perspective, the disparity was obvious and infuriating. One Wehrmacht officer's diary captured the frustration. "They have organic tigers. We file requests and wait. By the time approval arrives, the battle's over." The reality was more complex than Wehrmacht officers realized at the time. When historians examined actual allocation numbers decades later, they discovered Wehrmacht divisions averaged 48 Panthers per division in April 1944. SS divisions averaged 44. Wehrmacht had more. But the distribution pattern created different operational realities. Wehrmacht Panthers were spread across many divisions in smaller packets. SS Panthers were concentrated in elite divisions permanently. An SS Panzer commander knew his Panthers would be available tomorrow, next week, next month. A Wehrmacht commander never knew if his would be reassigned overnight to another sector's emergency. The dispute wasn't really about numbers. It was about certainty, control, trust. Wehrmacht logistics operated through traditional military bureaucracy. Requests filed through Armed Forces High Command. Approval processes taking weeks. The SS operated differently. Heinrich Himmler maintained direct access to Hitler. Wehrmacht generals, captured and interrogated by British intelligence, consistently complained about SS logistics advantages. Their accounts describe a pattern where SS units obtained fuel, ammunition, and supplies through direct appeals to Himmler and Hitler, bypassing the standard military supply chain that left Wehrmacht units waiting weeks for authorization through the Armed Forces High Command bureaucracy. Two parallel supply systems competing for the same shrinking resources. The pattern extended beyond armor. Winter uniforms on the Eastern Front followed the same distribution. SS troops received warm gear early in the season. Wehrmacht soldiers endured the brutal Russian cold in inadequate clothing issued weeks or months late. Whether this represented systematic favoritism or merely wartime chaos remains debated among historians. Wehrmacht officers at the time had no doubt. The SS received priority for everything. This perception created a corrosive suspicion that poisoned the relationship between the two forces. When someone receives the best equipment, the newest weapons, priority access to fuel and ammunition, naturally their battlefield performance improves. But Wehrmacht officers began questioning whether this made the SS better soldiers or merely better equipped soldiers. That question led to the second major source of hatred between the two organizations. Not how the SS fought, but how they died. Eastern Front, 1943 to 44. Wehrmacht officers documented SS assault tactics in letters, diaries, and post-war testimonies. A consistent pattern emerged. Wehrmacht assault doctrine emphasized reconnaissance, artillery preparation, identifying weak points and exploiting them with combined arms. Expected casualty rates 20 to 30% in offensive operations. SS assault doctrine emphasized speed, aggression, overwhelming the enemy through determination, and accepting losses as proof of ideological commitment. Casualty rates. Wehrmacht officers estimated at 40 to 70% in comparable operations, though exact figures remain disputed by historians due to incomplete German records. Both approaches achieved tactical victories. One was dramatically more expensive. Wehrmacht officers captured separately by Allied forces and interrogated before they could coordinate their accounts made remarkably consistent complaints about SS tactical methods. Field Marshal Erich von Manstein praised elite SS division's determination in his memoirs, then criticized what he characterized as needlessly costly methods, noting their preference for frontal assaults that Wehrmacht doctrine considered wasteful. Wehrmacht officers consistently described a fundamental difference in approach. The SS appeared to seek battlefield death as proof of ideological commitment, while the Wehrmacht prioritized tactical success with minimum casualties. Both claimed to serve Germany, but their definitions of victory were fundamentally incompatible. The SS saw Wehrmacht caution as weakness, a failure of will. SS training emphasized leading from the front. Officers were expected to be first into combat, sharing every hardship with their men. This created incredible unit cohesion, absolute loyalty. It also killed officers at unprecedented rates. Half of all SS divisional commanders died in action during the war. Half. An extraordinary rate in modern warfare. The reason was clear. SS doctrine required officers to lead assaults personally rather than coordinate from command positions. Wehrmacht doctrine preferred coordination, artillery support, reconnaissance, maneuver warfare. SS doctrine meant storming forward, overwhelming the enemy, accepting the blood price. The approach succeeded sometimes brilliantly. In desperate situations, defensive lines collapsing, immediate breakthroughs needed, SS aggression could turn the tide. Wehrmacht soldiers admitted that when Soviets attacked in overwhelming numbers, they were grateful to have SS units nearby, because the SS held their positions, even when retreat was the logical choice, even when the situation appeared hopeless. That stubbornness saved Wehrmacht formations from encirclement more than once. But the strategic cost was severe. Germany fought a war of attrition against enemies with far superior manpower reserves. The Soviet Union could replace losses. Germany couldn't. By 1944, every veteran soldier killed became irreplaceable. SS tactics burned through Germany's best troops at rates the Reich couldn't sustain. Wehrmacht officers carried their own biases in these assessments. Modern historians note that Wehrmacht generals often exaggerated SS recklessness in post-war memoirs, partly to distance themselves from their own failures and war crimes. By painting the SS as fanatical amateurs, they could preserve the myth of Wehrmacht professionalism. But even accounting for that bias, the pattern remains consistent. The evidence comes from captured officers interrogated during the war itself, before post-war narratives had time to form. The rivalry was real. The criticism had substance. An uncomfortable truth emerges from this analysis. The SS's refusal to retreat was often exactly what Germany's high command needed in the moment. In collapsing defensive situations, an SS division that wouldn't break could buy precious time for Wehrmacht units to regroup and reorganize. The SS functioned as Hitler's fire brigade, rushed to crisis points specifically because they wouldn't retreat even when facing overwhelming odds. Was this strategically wasteful? Yes. Was it sometimes tactically necessary? Also, yes. Wehrmacht officers despised relying on SS determination to hold critical positions. By 1944, they frequently had no alternative, but tactical disagreements represented only part of the deeper problem poisoning the relationship between these two organizations. The real dysfunction lay in the command structure itself. Two parallel command structures fighting each other for control even as they supposedly fought the same war. On the battlefield, SS units fell under Wehrmacht operational command. They followed army generals' tactical orders. Administratively, they answered to SS operational headquarters, which reported to Heinrich Himmler, who reported to Hitler. Wehrmacht generals couldn't discipline SS officers, couldn't reassign SS units without Berlin's approval, couldn't control their logistics. Wehrmacht commanders reported instances where SS units refused tactical withdrawals, citing orders from Himmler to hold positions at all costs. By the time Wehrmacht generals could appeal to Hitler for authorization to override these orders, tactical situations had often changed, opportunities lost, casualties mounting. This happened repeatedly throughout the Eastern Front campaigns. Different generals found different solutions. Erwin Rommel maintained complicated relationship with the SS. In organizing Hitler's personal security early in the war, Rommel deliberately minimized SS involvement. Hitler appreciated that independence, granting Rommel unusual operational freedom. Some Waffen-SS personnel did serve under Rommel in North Africa, but his preference for professional military control over political influence remained clear throughout his career. Heinz Guderian, architect of Blitzkrieg doctrine, acknowledged elite SS divisions as capable fighters. He respected their battlefield performance, but opposed the SS as an organization. His memoirs criticized how the broader SS apparatus drained resources from front lines, Gestapo personnel, concentration camp guards, political administrators consuming manpower that could have been fighting. While the Waffen-SS fielded combat divisions, the broader SS organization employed hundreds of thousands in rear area security and administrative functions. This reveals the fundamental divide. Wehrmacht believed it defended Germany as a nation. SS believed it built a new ideological order. Wehrmacht soldiers, even those who supported National Socialism, served their country first. Loyalty to Germany, then to Hitler. SS soldiers swore personal oath to Hitler. Obedience unto death, not to the nation, but to the man. That difference shaped everything. When war turned against Germany, Wehrmacht officers questioned Hitler's strategic decisions. Some actively plotted to remove him from power. The July 20th, 1944 assassination attempt, planned and executed by Wehrmacht officers. The SS remained fanatically loyal throughout. Even as Germany burned and defeat became inevitable, SS units refused surrender. Their mission transcended national survival. It was about ideology, about Hitler personally, about a vision beyond the German state. When those philosophies collided on the battlefield, the result was dysfunction that weakened Germany's entire war effort. By 1945, both forces were collapsing together. But the question remains. Setting aside ideology and rivalry, who was actually more effective? The answer depends entirely on how effectiveness is measured. Combat victory tells one story. Elite SS divisions compiled impressive battlefield records. Leibstandarte, Das Reich, Totenkopf. They fought in every major campaign from France to the Eastern Front. Elite Wehrmacht divisions matched those achievements. Großdeutschland, Hermann Göring Division. Veteran panzer formations earned equally formidable reputations. Combat effectiveness analysis shows both forces roughly equal at the elite level. Top SS divisions held slight edges in some engagements. The differences were marginal. Resource efficiency reveals a different picture entirely. SS forces comprised roughly 15% of Germany's ground forces but consumed disproportionate resources. Newer equipment, priority logistics, better supplies. they achieved marginally better results in elite formations while accepting significantly higher costs. From strategic perspective, Germany would likely have gained more value allocating those resources evenly across Wehrmacht units. More Tigers and Panthers with experienced Wehrmacht crews might have delivered better returns on the same investment. Sustainability under pressure favored the Wehrmacht decisively. By 1944, Wehrmacht units held defensive lines with outdated equipment, limited ammunition, and exhausted troops. They adapted, improvised, fought effectively with whatever remained available. Many late-war SS divisions collapsed under similar pressure. High desertion rates, poor morale, performance consistently inferior to Wehrmacht equivalents facing identical conditions. The full picture requires acknowledging uncomfortable realities. Waffen-SS reputation was built on 8 to 10 divisions. The remaining 28 or more ranged from mediocre to actively detrimental. Elite Wehrmacht divisions delivered the highest strategic value: professional leadership, tactical discipline, resource efficiency that Germany's collapsing economy desperately needed. Elite SS divisions ranked second, tactically aggressive, high unit morale, combat effective in breakthrough roles, but resource intensive with attrition rates that compounded Germany's manpower crisis. Average Wehrmacht divisions ranked third. Competent, reliable, adaptable despite chronic equipment shortages and deteriorating logistical support. Late-war SS foreign divisions ranked lowest, often poorly trained. High desertion rates, combat performance inferior to Wehrmacht equivalents. Waffen-SS wasn't more effective, it was more expensive. Germany's collapsing industrial base and manpower reserves couldn't sustain that expense. SS expansion didn't strengthen Germany's military position. It strengthened the SS's institutional power within the Nazi state while draining resources from more efficient military formations. Wehrmacht fought to preserve Germany through military victory. SS fought to validate ideological principles and maintain personal loyalty to Hitler. When those objectives aligned, the two forces proved formidable. When they diverged, they competed for resources and weakened each other. The rivalry didn't merely create organizational friction. It accelerated Germany's military collapse. 38 SS divisions. 8 were elite. 30 were mediocre or worse. If those 30 divisions had been integrated into the Wehrmacht with proper training and rational equipment distribution, would Germany have lasted 6 months longer? A year? Would that have changed the war's outcome, or was the dysfunction so deep it didn't matter? Drop your answer in the comments. If this changed how you see the Wehrmacht-SS rivalry, hit like. Subscribe for history that analyzes systems, not just battles. Thanks for watching.